Stylistically, man, how does Shakur beat Teo and vice versa? Stylistically, how does Teo beat Shakur?
Stylistically, Teo got to go in and go for broke. He got to go gamble. He got to take some, get some, and that's just the only way to win. He stays outside of.
Roy Jones Jr. didn't mince words when he looked Teofimo Lopez in the eye and said his current game plan is a fast track to disaster. When a living legend like Jones speaks, boxing listens. But this wasn't routine advice. It was a warning. Jones, who mastered the art of being untouchable, publicly cautioned Lopez about his looming super fight with Shakur Stevenson. His message was brutal. If Teofimo tries to outbox Shakur, if he leans on the same polished skills that made him a two-division champion, he will lose, guaranteed. According to Jones, the only chance is to abandon the science and make the fight ugly.
This one you don't have to answer,
okay.
But I'm curious if you will answer it.
Yes.
Most overrated boxer right now.
Most overrated boxer right now.
You could go all time, I guess, if you wanted to.
I'll just say it. I think Shakur Stevenson,
Shakur Stevenson is now the most dangerous, boring fighter in boxing. Over time, the narrative has shifted. Fans and critics complain about snoozers, calling him a runner who refuses to engage. Roy Jones Jr. sees something far more lethal. He doesn't call Shakur boring. He calls him a defensive mastermind who's nearly impossible to hit clean. That's the real trap. Shakur doesn't just move. He suffocates offense until opponents stop throwing altogether. He lands sharp counters, disappears before the return fire, and controls distance better than anyone in the sport. If Teofimo thinks he can stand mid-range and trade with a sniper like this, he's walking straight into a wood chipper.
Would Teofimo knock out Shakur? No. Can Teo adjust to the point where he beats Shakur? Yeah. You don't see how? Shakur hates slick and economic boxers. So does Teo. They both hate where each other are. Shakur looks great against volume punchers. De Los Santos sitting back and not being active, Shakur doesn't look good. That's when they say he's boring. The thing is, Teofimo Lopez is an excellent fighter. He beat Josh Taylor and Lomachenko. How did he beat Lomachenko? By being patient. Y'all sleeping on Teo. And it's at 140. Now the thing what's wrong with Teo is, Teo also looks good as a counter puncher when you are a volume puncher too. Another thing is, Teo looks very great when he's dialed in. He fights more athletic than Shakur. Shakur fights far more technically sound, and he's a more gifted fighter skill-wise. I'm leaning towards Shakur, but
The strategy Jones is suggesting sounds insane to modern purists. His message was simple and terrifying. Teofimo has to go for broke. In a sport built on hit and don't get hit, Jones is telling Lopez to accept the opposite. Get hit, possibly a lot, just to land one meaningful shot. This isn't chess, it's a street fight. Jones believes that if Teofimo tries to be slick and tactical, Shakur will embarrass him for 12 rounds. The one thing Shakur can't calculate is chaos. Jones wants Lopez to scrap in close, kill the space and make footwork irrelevant. It's all or nothing, knockout glory or total destruction.
Stylistically, Teo got to go in and go for broke. He got to go gamble. He got to take some, get some, and that's just the only way to win. He stays outside of boxers. Shakur gonna pick him apart. Shakur's a polished boxer. He's some of the best feet in the game right now, and he's a defensive-minded fighter, which is very smart. It's hard to hit him. He makes you gamble to hit him, and he's gonna be a tough one to deal with. But if Teofimo is willing to gamble to beat him, then Teofimo can definitely make it a really good fight.
The advice echoes one of boxing's greatest stylistic clashes. Roberto Duran versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Analysts already see the parallels. Duran forced Leonard into a war, dragging him away from elegance and into violence. Jones envisions Teofimo as the Duran figure, the disruptor who must unsettle the technician. The problem is pride. Lopez believes in his boxing IQ. He calls himself the takeover because he trusts his mind and speed. Accepting Jones' plan means admitting Shakur is technically superior. That's a massive hit to the ego of the man who outboxed Lomachenko. Asking Teofimo to brawl is asking him to abandon what made him a star.
Showed you that he can fight inside, he can fight outside. He would have the advantage of power in this fight. You know one thing that I love about this fight, Bud? Shakur's very athletic, very talented. So is Teofimo. He's more explosive with power, but Teofimo is very athletic. He is very talented. You got two athletic guys, two talented guys. Again, Teofimo I would favor with the power. This is going to be interesting. I'll give you my breakdown. I'll give you my pick when it gets closer. and I do all my film work. But I'll tell you, it's a lot to like about these two athletic, talented.
Teofimo's mental state may be the biggest wild card. The past 2 years have been chaotic, inside and outside the ring. Public fallout from his divorce, disturbing comments about killing an opponent, and erratic interviews have raised eyebrows across the sport. He's lashed out at reporters questioning his stability, denying issues while fueling concern with his own words. Jones seems to believe that this volatility could actually be his greatest weapon. A calm Teofimo boxes. A furious Teofimo charges. The danger lies in balance. Can he unleash controlled chaos without completely unraveling?
He was a younger fighter. He looked like he could be moved around by his opponent. It doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah, no, he's definitely matured in his body. But first fight at 140, Teo's what? I think this is maybe his 5th fight at 140?
Yeah.
Something like that?
That's true, but Shakur has a frame where he can put on 140 very comfortably. I think he's going to look as strong as Devin Haney did stepping up to 147.
I believe so
I think he's
too,
going to feel really good at junior welterweight.
Shakur is one of those guys and who comes along, and I think this is really the question about him. I said he is one of those guys. Is he one of those guys? Like Purnell, like Roy, like Floyd, their defenses were so good, and they boxed in a way where they weren't going to take unnecessary risks. They weren't running and holding. You know, I had a problem with the second half of the Haney-Norman fight because I felt like they continue to box. Purnell did, Roy did, and Shakur does now, right? But when a guy has those advantages in boxing skill and speed, and they don't take risks, they are almost impossible to beat. So no matter who Purnell was fighting, no matter who Roy was fighting, if someone would have asked me who they're going to be, they're fighting Godzilla, Purnell. They're fighting Roy. Shakur has that look to me, and the style to me, but does he rise to that level? Because it's not enough just to have that. It has to be executed at an extremely high level.
Across the ring, Shakur Stevenson is fighting for respect as much as hardware. Despite being a 3-division world champion and Olympic silver medalist, he feels overlooked. He's claimed to be the true face of boxing, a title usually reserved for knockout artists, not defensive surgeons. Criticism stings, especially when fighters like Rolly Romero label him the most boring boxer ever. Shakur wants validation, and humiliating a power puncher like Teofimo would do exactly that. If he dismantles Lopez, his style becomes undeniable.
Now, a lot of people will say style-wise, Teddy, style-wise, is this going to be a great fight? I don't know if it will. I mean, style-wise, I could see you having a little reservations, you know, whether or not these guys will make for dynamite, they will make, you know, for electricity. I don't know if they will, but I'll tell you what they will make for. 2 skillful fighters, 2 talented fighters, you know, 2 fighters that are at a high skill level that will compete in the sweet science. I mean, Shakur showed aggression in his last fight against Cepeda, you know, being elusive while being aggressive, you know, walking them down, fighting on the inside, you know, boxing well, still being able to counter, still being able to control space, but also be able to go into tight quarters and not be afraid to show that he's good on the inside too, that he can make you miss and make you pay outside and inside. Shakur showed that. That was great. That was great, and people applaud him. I applaud him. We were sitting there, ringside. I was sitting there actually with your sister, ringside, watching that fight. And it was a terrific performance. Shakur showing that dimension, showing that attitude, showing that competitiveness, showing that dog like people like to show or like to talk about, and they wanted to see in Shakur. Well, they saw it.
But if Shakur gets dragged into a firefight and cracked, every critic will feel vindicated. The setting adds pressure. Madison Square Garden, sacred ground for both men. Teofimo has delivered iconic moments there, backflipping after flattening Richard Cummey. Shakur, from nearby Newark, considers it home turf. The crowd will be loud, hostile, and split. Jones understands what that environment does to fighters. If Teofimo feels himself getting outboxed, panic could set in. Jones' warning is clear: bring the pressure immediately, don't wait until you're already buried on the scorecards.
Shakur has motion. He did his thing. He looked outstanding against William Cepeda at the Louis Armstrong Stadium. And this is what you guys need. This is what boxing needs. This is why we're here. We're here to take over. Now we got this lightweight coming up to super lightweight to come over here and dethrone the champ. And this is why this is the fight. And this is why this fight is happening early 2026. Everything that I learned has brought me to this moment here now. Every fighter that I faced in this beautiful weight class is going to now put me to the test and put all those attributes and all the things that I learned from every fighter that I faced to now put it on display against Shakur Stevenson.
Because I seen him at his best. Against Taylor, against Lomachenko, he was at his very best. That was the best he can do. I don't think he can do nothing better than that. So
self-projection. I think of Shakur as the best fighter on my resume to date.
And I'm way better than them guys you fought, so I can't wait to show you.
There's irony in Roy Jones Jr. giving this advice. He was the ultimate reflex fighter, breaking rules because he was faster than everyone else. For Jones to tell Teofimo, another elite athlete, that speed isn't enough speaks volumes about his respect for Shakur. Jones is saying Stevenson has perfected hit and don't get hit to a level where champions look helpless. We saw it when Shakur dismantled Oscar Valdez, making a unified champion look amateur. Jones is trying to spare Teofimo from the same humiliation.
Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. We talked a bit about that, but I wanted to ask you, like, not just about your thoughts on the fight of being official, because sometimes we hear rumors, right, and we think we're so close and it doesn't happen. I was hoping that wasn't the case, but here we are. How does each one win, in your opinion?
Great fight, like I told you back then. I think it's reminiscent of I call them the five kings. I know people say the four kings, but I call them the five because I think Benitez belongs in there too. Great fight. Shakur's a great talent, and Teofimo looked great in his last fight. Of course, he didn't have Shakur in front of him, but I think that for Shakur, he has to keep the fight at his distance. If he does that, I think it's a win for him. Teofimo, he's more, he wants to draw you in, he wants to counterpunch. He's gonna have to be a different guy this time. He's gonna have to attack. He's gonna have to be leading the fight, or else it's gonna be a boring fight. I don't think it'll be a boring fight, but if he sits back and waits for Shakur's gonna wait for him, then it's not gonna be exciting. But I think Teofimo will attack. I think Teofimo has to attack. I think Teofimo has to do what Cepeda did, except for Teofimo's a lot more talented than Cepeda was.
Odds makers have sided decisively with the technician. Shakur opened as a heavy favorite around -350, with Teofimo at roughly +250. But history says Lopez thrives as the underdog. Against Lomachenko, few gave him a chance, expecting the late round takeover. Teofimo proved them wrong with discipline. This time, discipline may be a mistake. Lomachenko engages. Shakur disappears. You can counter a puzzle, you can't counter a ghost. That's why Jones' blueprint matters. You don't outthink a ghost. You exorcise it with force.
Yeah, bigger name, and also he got the more accolades. He's been undisputed before. He's won belts at 35, won belts at 30, at 40. So he's more accomplished. So I know that will be a better name on my resume.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that this is going to be a tough fight for you.
I mean, they absolutely right to have their opinion. I already know this guy's good. I done came up in the amateurs with him. I chose this for that reason. Like, I chose this because I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to put myself in a situation to where I'm able to raise my game up to another level. So that was my whole purpose.
Do you feel like you got to be real dominant in this fight? Because, I mean, Teo, he from New York, and, you know, you having a fight in New York, and the judges, man. You never know, yo.
He not from New York. But he not from New York. He not from New York. He probably was born in New York, but like being from New York is like I'm raised and I'm brought up in New York, and I known him for years and years, and I always seen him out of Florida. Like that's where he was out of, Florida. So I don't look at him like a fighter that's from New York. So, but do I gotta be dominant? I think every fight that I set up, I want to be dominant. I don't care who in front of me. I want to dominate. I want to beat you to where judges don't feel like they can rob me. So I always got that feeling. I always got that chip on my shoulder.
If you do win this fight, what do you think it does for your career?
I think it put me top 5 pound for pound. I think it puts me like one of the best fighters in my era. I think it just established that I'm that guy. Like, I'll be one of the 4 kings that they call the 4 kings, and it also depends on the fashion that I do it. So it's gonna be interesting.
This is a legacy-defining night. If Teofimo listens to Roy Jones Jr., we're getting a short, violent fight. He'll either land something devastating or get knocked out trying. There is no middle ground. If he ignores the advice and boxes, expect a 12-round clinic where Shakur barely breaks a sweat. The boxing world is rooting for the gamble, the risk. Jones has drawn the map, but it demands uncommon bravery. It demands walking into the fire on purpose.
I will be 100 times better come fight night against Teofimo Lopez than I was against Cepeda. 1,000 times better. Faster, sharper, stronger, mentally more on point, and I can't wait.
You said a couple of times now you see some holes in Teofimo's game. I know you don't want to give away your game plan at the kickoff press conference, but where are the weaknesses? Where are some of the weaknesses in his game?
A lot of the weaknesses is in his mental. I think it's more mental than anything again. I'm going to expose it.
You said in your last fight that you proved you were a dog against William Zepeda. What do you want to prove in this one?
That I'm the best. I want to show the world that I'm the best. After this fight, I want to be considered top 5 pound for pound fighter in the sport, and I can't wait to show it.
You said this week that you were in for a rude awakening when you get to 140. What do you think he's in for when he goes up against you?
I think he just don't realize how good I am. I think come fight night, he's gonna realize that I'm gonna take it to another level that he has never seen before. So if he's expecting the Lomachenko, the Josh Taylor fight to happen, it won't.
In the end, it comes down to desire. As Jones said, it's not about jabs or foot speed. It's about who's willing to leave a piece of themselves in the ring. Teofimo has heart, but does he have reckless abandon? Shakur has the mind of a machine, but can he handle a glitch? On fight night, we'll find out whether Teofimo goes for broke or becomes another name on Shakur Stevenson's resume. The warning has been delivered. Now we wait to see if it's answered.
And you know, gonna have Shakur jigger my, you know?
You said you're gonna do what?
Jigger my balls.
What? Pause, bro.
You
That's wild, bro. Why you always doing that, bro?
To Niagara Falls.
Teofimo, you could have gone a few different directions for your next fight. Done a unification at 140. You've talked in the past about moving up in weight. Why was this the right fight for you?
Hold on, I'll tell you what.
Fuck you too, nigga. Fuck wrong with you?
I mean, come on now. Like, he's saying this, he's saying that, and the third, but in reality, man, this guy is the best, and we're here to face the best. That's just what it is. Forget the rest. That's all it is, man. That's what it takes. You know, we define the odds. We're against all odds. And to DraftKings and to all the betting odds out there, make sure you keep the odds in highly favored in Shakur. I got a lot of people that are starving, and you know they need to make their money. So, for sure.